It said, "My mom needs a husband." My 8-year-old wrote that, handed it to her teacher. I wanted to disappear.
This is Michael Tells, and this is Recorded for Me. This one came in this week. A woman who spent 6 years making sure nobody could get in. Undone by a note her little girl left in a backpack. And what that teacher did next? Stay with me. This is one of the good ones.
Hi, Michael. Okay, I've never done this before, sending a voice thing to a stranger, so bear with me. I've watched your channel for a long time. My daughter actually got me into it. Well, she gets me into everything. You'll understand that in a minute. And I always thought, one day I'll send Michael my story. And then I'd never do it. So, here I am, doing it. I'm just going to talk. If it's too long, cut whatever you need. So, it was just the two of us for a long time, me and my daughter. Her dad, Daniel, he left when she was 2. She doesn't remember him. She has this one blurry idea of a man who smelled like coffee, and honestly, I think she invented even that. 6 years it had been. 6 years of just me and her. And Michael, I want to say this the right way because people always assume the sad version. It wasn't that I sat around broken all that time. I didn't. I got up, I made the lunches, I worked, I paid what needed paying. I was fine. I really was fine. I just never tried again. That's the honest part. And it's the part I've never said out loud to anyone, which is maybe why I'm saying it to you and not to them. Not once in 6 years. Not a date, not an app, not a, maybe I'll say yes if someone asks. Nothing. I'd built this little life the exact size of the two of us, and it fit, and I did not want to go poking holes in something that fit. I told myself that was strength. Looking back now, I think it was just fear wearing a nicer coat. Anyway, my daughter, Lily, she's the one who did this, and I need that on the record before I go any further, because if she ever hears you read this, I do not want her getting a big head. She already thinks she runs the house. And, okay, she kind of does. She had this teacher that year, 3rd grade, Mr. Bennett. Tom, though I didn't call him Tom for a long time. And I knew of him the way you know of any teacher. A name on a folder, a voice at the parent meeting, the person who emails you when your kid forgets her water bottle for the 4th time. That was the whole file I had on the man. Lily adored him. Came home every single day. Mr. Bennett said, Mr. Bennett did, Mr. Bennett thinks. I thought it was sweet. Kids get attached to good teachers, that's the job. What I did not know was what she was telling him about me. So here's how I found out. And Michael, I still get warm in the face telling this part. It was a Tuesday, late September. That kind of afternoon where the light's already going gold too early and you can feel summer packing its bags. I came to get her from school like always. Same spot by the fence. Same little crowd of parents all staring at their phones. And a note came home in her backpack. Now, a note from school is never good, right? Your stomach drops. I'm thinking, what did she do? Did she hit somebody? Did she fail something? And I unfold this thing right there by the car, standing up, bracing for it. And it's not from the school. It's in a kid's handwriting. It's from Lily. And it says, and I kept it, Michael. It's in a drawer in my kitchen right now. It says, Mr. Bennett, my mom needs a husband. She is very nice and she can cook. Please consider. Please consider. Like she's filing a business proposal. 8 years old. And I go cold. Because I realize this one's a copy. She wrote one for me. Which means there's an original. Which means she already gave one to him. I have never wanted the ground to open up and swallow me the way I did in that parking lot. My face was on fire. I'm looking around like everybody knows, like it's up on a billboard. My 8-year-old had submitted me, filed the paperwork, put me on the market without my permission, and I did what any dignified grown woman would do. I got in the car and I sat there, and I genuinely thought about moving to a different state. The plan was to go in the next morning and apologize. Get there early, catch him before class, say, "Kids, right, so sorry, please forget this ever happened," and then never make eye contact with the man again for the rest of my life. That was the plan. Here's what actually happened. I didn't even make it to the car door, really, because when I looked up from that note, still red, still dying inside, he was already there. He'd walked out with the last of the kids, and he came across the lot and he walked straight up to me, not toward the fence, not toward another parent, to me, like he'd been waiting. And I thought, oh no, he's going to be kind about it, that's worse. Some gentle little, "I'm sure she didn't mean anything." I could not have survived gentle right then. But he didn't do that. He got to me, and he had his own copy of the note in his hand. She'd delivered his all right. And he held it up, kind of sheepish, and he said, "So, I got your daughter's application." And I started stammering. "I'm so sorry, she's 8, I don't even know where she got the idea, I'm mortified." And he just let me finish, waited. And then he said, "Can I be honest with you? I've read a lot of notes from that kid this year, and this is the first one where I wasn't sure she was wrong." I didn't have a single thing to say. Me. I always have something to say, Michael. I run a whole household on saying things. And I just stood there with my mouth slightly open like the parking lot had short-circuited my brain. And he saw that and, bless him, he let me off the hook. He said, "There's a coffee place on 5th, no pressure. If you ever wanted to tell an adult about your day instead of a fence full of strangers on their phones." And then he said, "That's it. That's the whole pitch. That's the whole pitch." I still tease him about that line. Now I want to slow down, because if I tell it fast, it sounds like a movie, and it was not a movie. It was terrifying. Because I said yes to the coffee, and then I spent the next 4 days trying to figure out how to cancel it. I'm serious. I had the text typed out. Something came up. I looked at it maybe 100 times. It wasn't him. He hadn't done one thing wrong. It was that little life I told you about. The one exactly the size of 2 people. Saying yes to a coffee meant admitting there might be room for a third. And I had spent 6 years very carefully making sure there wasn't. But I didn't cancel, and I've thought a lot about why. And I think it's because of the note. Because my daughter, who barely remembers having a dad, who's only ever known me tired and capable and alone, she looked at my life from the outside, and she didn't see strong. She saw somebody who'd forgotten there was more. It took an 8-year-old with a crayon to say the thing I wouldn't let myself think. So I went to the coffee, and it was easy. That's the part that undid me, Michael. It wasn't fireworks. It was easy. 2 tired adults talking for 2 hours about nothing, and me laughing at something and then catching myself, surprised, like, oh, I still do that. I forgot I still do that. And it did not all happen at once. I need to say that because I think people rush these things in their heads. That was September. We had coffee a few more times before I'd even call it anything. He was patient in a way I didn't trust at first. I kept waiting for the catch, the version of him that changes once he's got you. It never came. By the winter, he was just around. Fixing the gate he noticed was loose. Never once making it weird with Lily. Always Mr. Bennett at school, just Tom at home. And she thought that arrangement was the funniest thing in the world. By spring, I'd stopped bracing. That was the biggest thing. I stopped waiting for it to fall apart. It was almost a year before it was really serious, before I let myself say the word out loud. And I won't pretend the fear just vanished. It didn't. There were nights I picked a fight over nothing because peace made me nervous. He weathered it. He just stayed. And then, well, about a year and a half in, I found myself standing in a bathroom, holding a little test. 37 years old, hands shaking, thinking there is no possible way. And there was every possible way. I was so scared to tell him. Isn't that ridiculous? After everything. I sat him down like I was confessing a crime, and he just put his hands over his face for a second. And when he took them away, he was smiling so hard he couldn't get a word out. And Lily, when we told her, she went quiet for a minute, and then she said, "So it worked?" So it worked. Like she'd planned the whole thing, which she had. We all live together now, the four of us once the baby came. Small house, loud mornings, somebody always hunting for a shoe. It's not the neat little life the exact size of two people anymore. It's messy and it's full and it's got holes poked all through it, and I would not seal a single one back up. I still have the note. My mom needs a husband. She is very nice and she can cook. Please consider. I'm going to give it to her someday. When she's older. When she thinks she's got life all figured out and doesn't need anybody. I'm going to hand it to her and say, "You were 8, and you saw me clearer than I saw myself." Because that's the thing I keep coming back to, Michael. And it's really why I finally sent you this. I thought I was protecting us by keeping the door shut. I really did. And my little girl just opened it, handed a note to a kind man on a Tuesday, and rebuilt our whole life before I even knew the door was there. So, that's my story. Thank you for reading it out loud. It's strange. I think I needed to hear somebody else say it, to believe it actually happened to me. And if you do read it, don't tell Lily she was right. She really does think she runs the house. Yeah, okay, maybe she does.
And I've been sitting with it for a while, because there's a line in there I can't quite put down. She said she thought she was being strong, keeping the door shut, protecting the two of them. And it took an 8-year-old, who barely remembers having a dad, to look at her and see something she couldn't see herself. Not a strong woman, just someone who'd forgotten there was more. And that's the part that gets me. Because I think a lot of us do that. We call it strength. We call it being fine. We build a life the exact size of what we can carry alone, and we make very sure nobody pokes a hole in it. And sometimes, somebody hands you a note you didn't ask for. She is very nice and she can cook. Please consider. If you're out there, and you've kept a door shut for a long time, for good reasons, real reasons, I'm not going to tell you to fling it open. I just hope somebody, someday, sees the thing you can't see in yourself, the way that little girl did. Thank you for sitting with me tonight. If this one meant something to you, leave a word below. I read them. And if you've got a story of your own, one that's been sitting in a drawer, you know where to find me. This has been Michael Tells. Take care of each other. I'll see you next time.